What the frick is going on, my solar lovers? No, that's not a euphemism. You're not my lover. Get out of my house, please. Solar myths, or Smiths, are plentiful in our painfully interconnected world. A man looks at his monthly generation report and sees that his panels haven't been performing as well as usual, despite the balmy 11-degree October weather. He posts about it on his social media of choice, and soon you've got people believing that it would be more economically effective to replace your new REA bifacials with a thick layer of HP brown. Now, today we are going to crack open these mysterious myths and get to the juicy innards of the truth, to get to the bottom of what's really going on. Perhaps some of the myths in this video were once true, but the PV industry does move at a breakneck pace sometimes. The answer isn't black and white, but the text on this subject is. So let's get stuck in and figure out why these rumors came to be, if there's any truth behind them, and why those truths have possibly changed. Okay, cool. If at any point you find yourself enjoying the video, please do give it a little like. We're putting in the real hard work to get you the answers. We're gonna blow the lid off these conspiracies. And what's under that lid? Well, it's certainly not HP source. El numero 1. The payback period is so long, it obviously isn't worth the upfront cost. Okay, so dying before you see your solar panels paid for through saved energy bills and exports to the grid has long been a concern for any would-be PV or battery storage buyers. Morbid as it is, dying before things get good is a justifiable human concern. Fans of Everton Football Club know this very well, apparently. Now, this is one of those myths with an understandable bit of truth to it. Solar PV fittings in any popularity are about 20 years old now in the UK. That's how long they've been installed for. For the majority of that time, those on the receiving end of a new solar PV system would have been quite splendidly minted or had just been relieved of one of their kidneys. It was an undeniably expensive venture, with costs roughly averaging around £15,000 to £20,000. Materials and labour were less abundant and therefore costs were considerably higher. But what are the numbers now? Well, luckily we've got some handy-dandy data from the most recent MCS report from 2023. Let's dig in. We're going to be comparing two averaged PV systems. System 1 and 2 are both 3.5 kilowatts with 10 panels each. System 2, however, is installed with a battery. For the battery-free system, you'll be looking at an average price of £7,000. A lot of info coming at you here, so time to get the laptop out. The battery system has a storage capacity of 10.24 kilowatts, and it'll be setting you back about £11,000 as well. Already from the roughly £15,000 to £20,000 that you'd be paying in the year of 2004, that's quite a steal comparatively. On the battery-free system, you'll be consuming 37% of the PV energy produced and exporting roughly 63% back to the grid. With the current seg payments of 12 pence per kilowatt exported, that'll be providing an annual saving of £702.97. With the 10.24 kilowatt battery system, you'll be consuming 86% and then exporting 14%. Now, including the seg payment, this will be saving you an annual amount of £1,117.22. Mental. So altogether, going battery free, you'll pay off your £7,000 system in about 9.9 years, and with a battery, it'll be 9.8 years. How about that, eh? If you look both ways before crossing the street and don't go near any active volcanoes, then you might actually live to see your system paid off. Now, though we've used the most recent MCS data from 2023, we did do a fair bit of napkin maths here. It's based on a fair bit of assumption. A great year for solar generation can be followed by an equally terrible year. Nothing's really set in stone. But also, solar panels and batteries are constantly evolving. And as we move towards new technologies that allow solar PV to thrive even in areas without the best weather, microinverters and solar panels are really making headway there. I'll talk about that in a bit. Then we'd expect that ROI time to come down even further as we move forward into the future. New solar batteries are also going neck and neck, trying to beat each other for the highest capacity. Both the Give Energy All-in-One and the Powerwall 2 and the most recent Powerwall 3 all have usable capacities of up to 13.5 kilowatt hours, meaning you'll be saving and consuming your own energy rather than buying from the grid as energy prices continue to soar, as we've seen in the past couple of years. So, getting to the core of this myth, the basic gist is that higher efficiency, higher levels of efficiency and lower prices always leads to a shorter payback time. Higher energy bills can also cause shorter payback times due to the cost of not having your own self-generating energy system, and the same is true for new boiler installations. Rising gas prices for new boiler installations have seen payback periods drop to as little as 2 years. So we're moving towards a brighter future, people. I can just smell it in the air. But enough of that. This is a solar video, and it's very warm in here, which is fitting, I think. Some things to consider are the quality of the panels. After all, not all panels are created equal. Some are cooler than others. Any energy tariff and export rate changes may also change that payback period. So overall, I'd just say do your own research and don't believe every myth, because this one's debunked. On to our next myth. Electricity savings are way over-exaggerated, apparently. So let's be fair, the UK solar industry has earned itself a pretty awful name since its inception, and it still carries that to some degree. It's been so poor, in fact, that many banks and lending houses aren't willing to provide consumer finance for installations because of the high risk of the technology underperforming compared to what was promised. Why? I'll tell you why. Lies. Lies, deceit, betrayal, being dropped from the canyon cliff into the herd of stampeding wildebeests. Ah! Brother! Help me! Long live the king! Ah! Got a bit carried away there, sorry. Misselling is the word of the day. See, many cowboy installation companies and solar salesmen have often promised the off-grid dream to a lot of potential customers. Oh yes, you'll be so off-grid even Tarzan will be asking you for tips. What a load of... These misleading sales tactics will often lead consumers to think that they're going to be completely bill-free when that's just wildly inaccurate. This was more abundant several years ago when panel technology was still significantly behind and potential savings were much less in any instance. However, at Heatable, we're still hearing stories from customers about the off-grid promise still made by solar salesmen today. It can be quite a difficult conversation to navigate, especially when there's still companies who are well accredited, won't name names, they're still out there who are given these really compelling but slightly misleading figures. I suppose the myth could be considered fact depending on how far you're being misled by your solar salesman. But we do at least try to eliminate some confusion regarding what savings you can expect. However, if you are confused, if you're concerned, or even if you're just a bit curious, you can check down in the description. There's a link to a cool 3D mapping tool that we've got. It allows you to check your expected generation based on like the direction, the pitch, and the rotation of your roof. No ambiguity, complete certainty, just the way I like it. And that's why I do not watch a film unless I know exactly how it's going to end. Which is why in our household, we only watch Titanic. And Pompeii, and John dies at the end, and Free Willy. What do you mean? It's in the title. Or did you think they weren't going to free Willy? It's called Free Willy. If they weren't going to free Willy, it would have been called, oh, I'm sorry, we didn't free Willy this time. Myth number 3, right there. The UK weather isn't good enough to sustain a solar PV system. It's just not worthwhile. Okay, yeah, first part of that statement, undeniably true. UK weather is not good. I'd even say that it might be a bit shit. So yeah, there is some truth to this one. Sunny is better pretty much all the time when you're talking about solar PV, but it doesn't render less sunny days completely useless. Another point of truth is the generation capabilities reported by the manufacturer. Now we'll get to that after this bit, but to address the first point, yes, for most PV systems in the UK, low light days or shading on the panels are gonna cause a reduction in performance. It's basically inevitable in this country. Overall, I'd suggest you focus more on your yearly average than sort of getting lost in the troughs and the lows of each day. The granularness is gonna drive you mental. Granularness, it's not a word. I just made that up. One thing that can be crippling in this respect, with those shadier days completely tanking your production, is that most UK PV systems run on what's called a single string inverter. Single string inverter systems will actually struggle to engage at all on the worst of days, which is a bit terrifying. Say you've got an array of 10 panels. A string inverter system will require a certain amount of solar energy to power on before it can start producing you energy. And so you might only be seeing a very short switch on window on those real grimmins, you know what I mean? Of course, string inverters do improve, panels improve. We are constantly marching towards the future every day, and it's so exciting. Go team. However, the currently most effective solution we've found is by using independently functioning solar panels using what's called a microinverter. It's here, I promise you. Rather than your entire array struggling to power on using one of these big boys, microinverters require a much smaller amount of wattage to power on at all, meaning your entire system doesn't get dragged down when your array gets assaulted rectally by a passing seagull. And this results in a generally more efficient system, which means more generation and more savings for you. But anyway, I'm waffling at this point. If you do want to see the true power of microinverter systems, we actually just posted a video a few weeks ago where we pitted an REA bifacial panel system with microinverters against a standard string inverter, standard solar panel system. It's really good. Definitely recommend you go check it out. Now, the other point I mentioned at the beginning of this solar panel section was regarding the manufacturer's reported generation capabilities on any given solar panel. What you need to take into account is that the manufacturer's listed generation output, 440 watt panel, for example, is not the consistent generation you're going to get. It's only its peak performance capabilities, meaning that in under perfect laboratory conditions, 1,000 watts of light per meter squared of solar panel, you're going to get 440 watts, but that is like perfect conditions. Usually in the UK, you're only going to get about 60 to 70% of that because I don't know if you noticed, but our weather is a bit crap sometimes. Some days, for a very small, tiny fraction of that day, you might get, maybe 100% capacity, 100% output, but that is like an ultra sunny, very rare British summer's day, and it's only a small part of that. And that's why we tend to pair those kinds of panels, 400 watts, 420 watts, with something like the IQ7 Plus, which has a power rating of 290 watts. You don't need that extra power rating in a microinverter because it's not going to reach that all the time, and you're just wasting money at that point. Again, the microinverter showdown video that we posted just a few weeks ago is a great resource if you want to check out the IQ7 range, IQ8 range, and figure out what is going to get you the best bang for your buck. Fourth myth, they're ugly. Solar panels. Okay, yeah, this one's a bit true. Most of them were and still very much are very ugly. As is the case with most things though, designs continuously improve as we slowly come to terms with the hideous design choices of our past. Case in point, clogs. Yes, solar panels have had their greasy, sweaty, spotty teenage years, but don't be deterred yet. Modern solar panels are slowly becoming more attractive by the day. None more than the new REA bifacials that we happen to sell. Take a look at this guy, for example. No more gaudy white trims, no more sky blue color, no more squares. They're rectangles. Yes, sirree, indeed. You're looking at the Patrick Swayze of the solar world, except in this case, this one's got a lot more life to live. Sleek, black finish, Apple-esque. This panel right here will tell your neighbors that you are greener than them, you're cooler than them, and you're sexier than them in every single way. J'adore. Parfum. Eau de toilette. They say you can't have what you want, but a girl gets what she wants. Panel solar. Bifacial. Heatable. You can have what you want. You touch my talala. My ding ding dong. I think that was really good. The fifth myth. You're gonna sell your energy back to the energy companies and get rich in the process. Wow. Now this myth is a little bit different. It's more of a false positive. I'll explain. Don't get us wrong. We'd love to tell you that after a few years of living with panels, you'd be living like Nicolas Cage before he spaffed all his net worth on octopus aquariums and a literal Bavarian castle. Real life is a bit more nuanced. It's often oversimplified that solar panels can become profitable purely based on exporting to the grid for energy that you haven't used. Fundamentally, this is true, yeah. However, it's on a much lesser scale than you might imagine, and it comes with a few pretty important caveats that you're going to have to consider. I'll just say hold off on your plans to buy a small island just off the coast of Italy for now. So first, you'll need to be registered with SEG. It's a government scheme designed to encourage greener purchases in the UK. Depending on your SEG provider, your energy company, and any tariffs that you're on, your export rates will vary and may even be as low as 5p per kilowatt hours. That being said, some energy companies like OVO and I think Octopus are starting to deliver some more compelling SEG rates, reaching as high as 12 to 15p per kilowatt. With that in mind, we can have a bit of hope that we are now selling back that bottled sunlight to the energy companies that have, historically profited massively from our misfortunes over the years. However, at present, it's more likely that with the current widespread SEG rates, you'll be generating around £100 to £200 a year in savings if you're not choosing to store that energy in a solar battery. And don't get me wrong, those figures are still fantastic. Money is money and profit is profit after all, but it's going to be way below the juicer that many homeowners might be expecting. Just remember that any profit is eaten up by your electric bills. So one reason you might consider getting a solar battery is that you're not selling as much of that energy, but you are saving it, producing it yourself, and you're not spending as much money on those hiked to hell energy prices that just continue to rise as the years go on. And so we come to the sixth and final myth. Solar PV is an absolute, honest to God, royal pain in the urethra to clean. Well, the simple answer is, if you were to do it yourself, probably. Thankfully, unless you're looking to take up solar maintenance as a hobby, no one's going to be asking you to get on your roof looking for issues on your day off. Most solar PV installation companies should provide you with a substantial product warranty, minimum of 10 years, in our case 25, a really good maintenance and aftercare option, and a bird protection option. So those first 2 points should be standard issues for any MCS registered solar installation companies. And no DIY should ever be attempted by you. It should never be required of you. You're fine. Get on the blower, sort you out. Most optional part of that package would be the bird protection. And while we do recommend it, it's not required, but birds do absolutely love squatting underneath solar panels. Of course, owning, training, and keeping a large bird of prey would also be a good alternative, if a bit extravagant. Maintenance-wise, your warranty and aftercare should provide you with some peace of mind, and your panels are likely to last for many, many years without much issue at all. Of course, should you have a standard array running one string inverter, you should factor in 1 to 2 replacements over the course of any array's lifetime. This is another bonus of a microinverter system, which actually comes with a whopping 25-year product warranty. And there we have it. The truth has come to light. The solar myths, the Smiths, have been destroyed. Hopefully these myths have been banished to the realm of fiction for you. As we said near the start of this video, no solar panel is the same, no system is the same. But if you do want to get more advice on the topic, or if you want to give some advice after owning a solar PV system yourself, then do pop a comment down in the description below. Additionally, there'll be a link in the description to this video where you can go to the Heatable article that this video is based on to get all the information here in writing. But that's it for me. If you liked the video, please give it a like, subscribe if you want more, and don't forget to eat your fruit and veg. Bye.